It's a day where I can say Happy Easter, both to the country but also in terms of some of the progress we're making with regards to cases and the rapid acceleration of the vaccine rollout program. Firstly, with regard to cases, there are no new cases in Australia today. That's 2 out of the last 3 days with no new cases, and that's 54 days for the year with no new cases and 57% of days in 2021 with no new cases. And we did face a potential mass two-state breakout, and yet by working together, by the actions of Australians, by all the actions that have been taken, whilst we're not completely out of the woods yet, I think the results from New South Wales and Queensland are very, very heartening. We know how to do this. We know when there are cases what we have to do, and some of these decisions are difficult, but they are life-saving. And we see this particularly when we look around the world. In terms of cases, in the last 24 hours, over 540,000 cases. In terms of the year to date, an almost unimaginable 48 million cases globally, and a 7-day average, sadly, of 585,000, as we've seen a rapid increase in global cases, whilst at the same time, 0 cases in 2 out of the last 3 days in Australia. In terms of lives lost, it's even more troubling globally. We've seen 8,500 lives lost in the last 24 hours. We've seen over 1,042,000 lives lost globally this year alone in 2021. Over 1,042,000 lives lost globally in 2021, 0 to COVID in Australia in that same time. And in the last 7 days, unfortunately and tragically, the rolling average has increased and passed 10,000 lives lost a day, again, after having decreased. Our testing throughout all of this has been strong and has now passed 15.8 million tests done in Australia. And I want to thank everybody who has come forward. We've seen some huge testing numbers across the country, over 80,000 on some days, including over 30,000 in Queensland, and that has protected people. It's helped find cases. It's an immensely important part of the process of borders, testing, tracing and distancing. So all that leads to the next step, which is the vaccination program. And as we see, supply determines the rollout. And as the CSL supply has come on board, we've been able to rapidly accelerate the rollout. On Monday of this week, there were 55,764 vaccinations completed across the nation for COVID. On Tuesday, that increased to 72,826 vaccinations. Wednesday was 73,979, and I'm delighted to be able to inform you that with Thursday's figures now having come through, a national record of 79,283 cases, and over the week of vaccination, 79,283 vaccinations on Thursday, a national record, more than we had expected at that moment, and that's continued over the weekend. So we're now at 841,885 vaccinations across Australia. 841,885 vaccinations as of yesterday evening. And when we look at the states, I want to thank all of the states for their work. New South Wales has 126,000 vaccinations, Victoria 116, Queensland 87,000 almost, WA over 56,500, Tasmania 17,500, South Australia 28,700, the ACT over 12,500, and the Northern Territory over 8,600, and we'll put those figures out formally during the course of the afternoon. At the Commonwealth level, there have been 387,605 vaccinations, and that includes aged care rollout of 111,873 vaccinations across 925 aged care facilities that have had first doses and 345 facilities that have had second doses. And our GPs have delivered an extraordinary 275,000 732 vaccinations. So as the supply, which determines the rollout, has come on board, given the great, enormous global competition, the fact that we have this domestic supply is fundamental, and the CSL supply has now come online, and that's seen our GPs deliver over 275,000 vaccinations, and that's set to increase again significantly during the course of this week.